Hey everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Alicia Elizabeth, and if this is your first time here, hello, welcome. If you are a returning subscriber, hey boo hey. To both of you, I'm happy that you're here. Get comfortable, grab a snack, grab your pen and paper. We have a lot to cover. It's been a while since we've talked about our book of choice, 13 things mentally strong people don't do, because we have been uploading multiple videos on multiple things. But let me remind you really quickly that I'm getting tongue-tied. This YouTube channel is to serve as a resource. I am both documenting my journey and also teaching you whatever it is that I come across, because I want you to win, or I feel like what has helped me is going to be helpful for you. And so if you're someone who's been trying to keep up with my videos, please take a deep breath and know that my goal is to create timeless content that you can engage in when it is most fitting for you. Okay. Nonetheless, I've decided to change my Tuesday and Thursday uploads to once a week, and it'll be under like Talk That Talk series. And so sometimes we'll talk about a book. Sometimes I'll talk to you about something that, maybe I'm reading in my personal time, in my devotion, and things that God is sharing with me. But nonetheless, we have Wealthy Wednesday, Talk That Talk Tuesday or Thursday, Fitness Friday. So right now you can expect 3 uploads a week. Again, all for the betterment of you, and just sharing things that have worked for me. There are no commitments here. So we are on point number 3 from Amy Morin's book of 13 things mentally strong people don't do. And her third point is that mentally strong people don't shy away from change. And if I'm going to be completely honest with you, when I first read it, I was like, sis, I never shy away from change. But then I started to really sit down and reflect, and I'm like, you know what? As impulsive as I can be, a risk taker, I would say, or courageous, I really don't like change, because change means having to confront areas that my faith is being tested. But it also means being uncomfortable. And so if you can relate to this, let's continue and talk about what Amy got going on, okay? So Amy mentions the different types of changes. So it's not always the uncomfortable change, or I don't want to say it's not always uncomfortable. It's not just one type of change. We all experience different types of changes. And so she shares 6 of them. The first one is the all or nothing change. She says some changes are incremental, while others are basically all or nothing. Deciding to have a child, for example, isn't something you do in steps. Once you have that baby, your life has changed. And so I would say you do it in steps, but nonetheless, once you get pregnant and decide that you're keeping that child, you are officially changing into parental mode, right? The second one she mentions is habit change. You can choose to either get rid of bad habits like sleeping too late, or you can choose to create good habits like exercising 5 times a week. Most habit changes allow you to try something new for a little while, but you can always revert back to old habits, okay? The third one is trying something new change. This change sometimes involves trying something new or mixing up your daily routine, like volunteering at a hospital or taking violin lessons. The fourth one is behavioral change. Sometimes there are behavioral changes that don't necessarily constitute a habit. Sometimes there are behavioral changes that don't necessarily constitute a habit. For example, maybe you want to commit to going to all of your child's sports games, or maybe you want to behave friendlier. Number 5, emotional change. Not all change is tangible. Sometimes it's emotional. For example, if you want to feel less irritable all the time, you need to examine the thoughts and behaviors that contribute to your irritability. Number 6, cognitive change. There may be ways in which you want to change your thinking as well. Perhaps you want to think less about the past, or maybe decrease worrisome thoughts. So those are 6 changes that we all may experience. Some we find easier than others. But what really stood out to me was that she mentioned things that almost get in the way of change. And those things include fear, discomfort, trying to avoid discomfort, and grief. And so just like looking quickly at them, fear sometimes looks like we don't want to change because things could actually get worse. or just not wanting to deal with what is on the other side of that change. Avoiding discomfort is you not having to actually address the discomfort. So for instance, when it comes to trying to eat healthier and exercise, the discomfort is I'm craving something and I'm denying myself that, right? She says, and often people underestimate their ability to tolerate the discomfort that accompanies the behavioral change. And so we don't want to experience the discomfort of not having what our flesh wants or what we're craving. And we assume that we can't handle telling ourselves no. Isn't that crazy? And then grief. Sometimes change means giving up something that we've always known. And so this one really stuck to me as well, because I think about relationships that I've stayed in longer than I should have because I didn't want to deal with the other side of not being with them. I didn't want to have to deal with the discomfort of, what was once our thing is now just a thing I do by myself, and grieving the change itself, right? So losing a person or having to change what time spent with that person looks like. And so these things get in the way of change. So then I want to share, she said, what's helpful, right? So we have the different types of change. We have a small idea of things that get in the way of change. And here's what's helpful when you're ready to make changes. You want to evaluate your readiness to change with an open mind. Set realistic time frames to establish and reach your goals. Balance your emotions and rational thoughts to help you make a decision about whether to do something different. Willingness to anticipate potential obstacles that could interfere with your progress. Review the potential pros and cons of making a change, as well as the pros and cons of staying the same. Focus on one small change at a time with clear action steps. And lastly, commit to behaving like the person you want to become. And so this list is so good because if you're someone, I guess the overarching question is, or your homework, what's one thing that you are ready to change? Mentally strong people have to sit down and decide, you know what? This sucks. This behavior of mine, or this lifestyle choice, or this situation that I'm in sucks. And it's not always the easiest thing to confront. It's not always the easiest thing to deal with or change, but these steps that she just offers, or these different things that help, are really beneficial. Evaluating your readiness to change with an open mind means you have to be honest with yourself about, am I really ready to address this behavior, right? Setting a realistic time frame to establish and reach your goals. If you follow my Wealthy series, I'm talking about getting out of debt. And I've been telling my partner, I'm like, I don't want to put a time on it just yet, because I need to engage or see, have some time to accumulate some data about how much money I can get when I'm really, knees and toes and elbows in deep. Then I can say, okay, you've managed to raise $5,000 in a month. You can kill this debt in this amount of time, right? So realistic time frames. Balance your emotion and rational thoughts to help you make a decision about whether to do something. This is necessary when you're changing, maybe the relationships around you, and having to assess how codependent are you, or, just being honest about what's going on and how it intertangles with your emotions, right? Willingness to anticipate potential obstacles that could interfere with your progress. When I read this, I instantly thought about my fitness journey and how going into losing weight this time around has been about understanding that I'm doing it for the long haul, right? The long-term race. And so going in from the beginning, instead of saying, you know what, I want to drop 50 pounds in 2 months, I'm like, I just want to become healthier and I want to lose weight. And I am anticipating days where I don't make good choices. I'm anticipating days when I don't want to exercise. There are going to be times where I eat more than I should, because this will come up. But I am in it for the long haul. And so I'm already anticipating obstacles, but those will not be stopping points in the change that I'm trying to start. Focus on one small change at a time with clear action steps. So, even down to the emergency fund that I talk about in my other video. Okay, if I'm going to try to save $1,000 in a month, what's my action steps to getting this extra $1,000 from somewhere since it doesn't already exist in my paycheck? Or if I'm trying to change my workout behavior, what is my action plan to moving more this week if I don't already move as is? Really sitting down and saying, I want to change this, but let me create some action steps that will aid in this change happening. And then the last one, committing to behaving like the person you want to become. And so this one, and I'm going to close with this, is super hard, and I'm going to be transparent because to think about who you want to become means that you are absolutely striving. You are striving for someone who you may not currently be, but it exists within you. And so I think about relationships and how sometimes when I'm reflecting on, you know, how I am as a partner and times when I could have done better or said things better or, you know, postured myself better, I try to think about the wife I want to become one day and the mom I want to become one day. And I'm like, okay, Alicia, you just assessed your behavior. You just saw yourself act ridiculous. Let's strive for better behavior moments, right? So this time you acted in anger and you were impulsive and you said the first thing that came to mind. But the next time an opportunity presents itself in an argument, how can you best respond, right? And how can you respond like the woman you're striving to become? So if you're trying to become a slow to anger, slow to speak kind of wife, what can you do now in your everyday behavior that will help you become that when you are in that role? What baby steps? So that might look like, you know what, this week I'm going to listen more than I speak, or this week I'm going to implement the behavior of taking a deep breath, processing what I hear, and then responding, because I want these small actionable steps to aid me in this big behavior change as to who I am. So anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this video and was able to learn something. I really do appreciate you watching it all the way through. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and I will see you all in the next Talk That Talk next week. Bye.